Hey guys, Gameboy 3800 here once again, and today we're going to be putting this Toshiba satellite A75 back together. I took this apart in my video right before this, and this is just showing you how to put it back together again. I'm sure if you took it apart you know how to put it back together, but some people are special, kind of like me, so yeah, I'm just going to show you how to do it. I had to unscrew the heatsink, so let's put that right back on. Just still making sure I'm getting everything out of it. All you really have to do is place it right back over. The 4 screws you need for it. Going one at a time. Don't screw the first one in all the way. Screw it in about, say, halfway, and put that one directly diagonal of it away to get rid of any chances of it getting stripped. The thread inside of it getting stripped, because that wouldn't be good. Sometimes you can be picky like it is now, but as soon as you get one screw in, you have all the rest. So yeah, then just screw in the other two in all the way, tighten the last ones, and you'll be good to put the motherboard assembly back in to the bottom casing. Don't tighten it up too much. If you strip it, you ruin everything. The only things you'll need for this reassembly is a Phillips head screwdriver and your hands. One thing I learned the hard way is never put the motherboard on carpet. Can discharge pretty easily on carpet, and it can ruin the motherboard. Even though there's no battery, it can still discharge whatever's around the processor area or the memory. It's just not good for the system, and don't do it. I was surprised to see when I first got this some type of computer that it only takes 2 screws to hold the whole motherboard in. And they are actually marked. First thing we got to do is put the back end of the motherboard into its place. Make sure they come into here. Then we get 2 sides, and I like to get this side with the PCMJA card. Start by pushing this thing in and, you know, pulling it out. For this part, you got to actually bend the bottom chassis a little bit to get it in there all the way. It's not cooperating with me, as always. There we go. Just push down on the volume wheel and you should be good. I don't like this volume wheel, and the volume's not very loud to begin with either. Something loose? Shouldn't be. Maybe I'm just going insane after all these disassemblies, reassemblies, and gaming, and I don't know. But yeah, time to start really reassembling. I have my trusty Phillips head screwdriver that has pretty much 2 ends to it. The big end down here and the small end up top. And it's magnetic, so it can hold the screws in a little bit. It's not very strong magnetic, and that's good. Just enough to pull a screw out of its little hole. There's 2 screws with a two spots where the screws go into to hold the motherboard down. And they're both pointed out by little arrows. You can see one a little bit right here. I pointed it out in my last video, so just screw it down in there. Not too tight, you don't want to strip the plastic underneath, but tight enough to hold it down good and steady. Next comes the top chassis, which I'm finding is very bendy. All you really gotta do is place it on top and push everything down. Make sure that all the edges, all the parts reconnect okay. They just clip together. Front one should be the harder one to do because they have to hold all the LED things up front in. Before we get the LCD back in, I was looking for the screwdriver there. I always lose it. You have to put in all these screws. All of them but one are F8, so the big long screws. With that being said, put all the ones except for that one in. There should be 5 big screws up here. Again, these all go on before the keyboard and before the LCD is put back on. They don't seem to take a long time to screw on for some reason. Most of the screw holes you saw on the motherboard while disassembling it are actually for putting the upper chassis back on. So if you screw them in first and then put the chassis back on, you're not going to have a good time. Magnetic screwdriver always comes in handy. If you find one, don't pass it up. Get it. I don't like using those automatic ones. I used to, but then when the center part that held the little screw bit in fell out, it just became a pain to use. So I just don't use it anymore. And they also seem to strip out screws a little bit easier and the socket that they go into. This is the one spot where the small screw goes in. If you put a long screw in there, it will go right into the CD drive, and that's no good. Okay, we are ready to put the LCD right back on. Should just go in there. The first thing we gotta do is put the screws in here and here so that it holds the LCD down some. You don't want it falling off on you. Next comes the Wi-Fi cables. Doesn't really matter what order you're doing this all in, but I'm doing the Wi-Fi cables next. I find that reassembling it is being a lot easier than disassembling it. I hope it'll be like this the rest of the video. We're at almost 10 minutes already. I hope we'll be able to get this all done in 15 minutes. Of course, you can just look at the end of the video and see how long it really is, but for me, I have no idea. 1 YouTube second is 10 minutes for me, so yeah. Okay, now you got these pulled back down under. We can put our attention to the video cable. And it just pushes in right like this. Don't make it in too tight. I mean, it wouldn't hurt anything if you put it in too loose, but you don't want it disattaching. And this is where another small screw comes in place. It just helps hold the wire down. It just keeps everything steady. It's a very small screw, actually, so yeah. On these two sides are your speaker wires, and this is where I use my trusty little screwdriver that actually broke in the last video. You can see the rest of the handle here. I tried to do getting the benzel off thing here, so I'm not happy about that, but it's only a small screwdriver. It could have been much worse. Could have been breaking the benzel, it could have been going up and hitting the screen and cracking it. It could have been many other things, but it wasn't, and I'm glad for that. These tiny little things are always a pain because there's, well, tiny little things. This keyboard wire seems to have the letters HB on it. I don't know what they stand for. Herbert. Whatever they stand for, you just put it into the socket. This is probably the easiest socket I've ever done because it just slides right in. This is the keyboard thing. Just put it in through here. It actually seems to be all the stuff that's going to give me today. Today's a good day for reassembling. Next, there's two more small screws that hold the keyboard in. And there you go. It's actually starting to look like a laptop again. This is my favorite unit to disassemble because of its ease. Sometimes it gives me a little bit of crap, but that's true with everything. I was afraid this would break, and I'm just going to make sure I didn't break anything off of it. Seems to be all good, so I'll just put it back on as it should be. As it should be. Now we tip it back over. The first thing you gotta do is put the screen screws back in that hold the bottom of the screen in. Don't get it flying everywhere. Make sure they're as tight as they can go. You can do these a little bit tighter because the screen hinge parts are metal. And then there's more screws for the screen on the back here. And then once you're done with that, you just put all the rest of the bottom screws in. I will be speeding up my process because, well, if you disassemble the bottom, you should know how to do it. First thing I'll show you is just where the final two small screws go. And that will be it. Also, don't forget about the little things on the back that held it in internally. So yeah, once you do that, it'll be all good, fine and dandy. Not really sure what these back screws do. Seems like it would hold up just fine without them. Put the CD drive back in, and the last two small screws actually go under the battery. If you put the big ones in, they'll stick out through the top of the casing, and that just won't be any good. Don't do it too tight, just as much as they can go in and stop. Alright, I'm now speeding up the process. As soon as I put the Wi-Fi card back in and reattach them, you can pretty much leave after I do this, because, well, that's it. Rekindle. Share out of the way wire. If you remember before, white comes closest in, the black goes furthest out. Wires. Actually, to make things easier, let's create 16 minutes. I'm on a 8GB SD card, and it's, I don't know, that's a pretty good size for an SD card, and I know that can get to over 32 if you want to be real big and endless space, stuff like that, but yeah. As the last part of non-fast movement, I'm putting the wire holder back in place. And everything else will be sped up for your convenience and entertainment. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, moment of truth. Oh, great. Houston, we have lost print screen. Whatever. And yay, it still goes on. The first time I did this, when I replaced all the parts inside, it didn't do this again. But it's good to see that this one's working all fine and dandy. As long as you're working, and I guess that signifies we're done. And I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon trying to get the print screen button back on. I'm finding out why it's doing that sound. Hopefully that fixes the problem, but poor print screen, you shall be missed. Wait a minute, what? It's back on. Yeah. Yep. Thanks, Game Boy out.